go ahead and start playing something for you.
Hey guys, it's Standing for Truth coming to you tonight for an exciting live stream. I've got a few things to cover. I want to try and cover it all within 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. I don't like to keep these too long, just like with my discussions. I always prefer to end them within an hour and a half and 2 hours. I don't think 5 minutes. I don't like attention spans can often go and comprehend anything longer than that. But to start this off, I think since the evolutionists love quotes, why don't we start it off with a quote from Ewan
Like
Bernie,
data.
who
Not
is
quotes.
actually
Fuck
the
quotes.
ENCODE's lead analysis.
You know, I like quotes too, my man. Go actually learn the topics you want to talk about. That's the quote. Dragnot the Third Esquire Jr.
And I forgot to mention the title of this video, as I'm sure you can all see, Debunking Evolutionists from the Great Debate Community. So this should be fun.
I don't have any
What he
spoons.
said was, we are the most complex things we know about. It's not surprising that the manual is huge. I think it's going to take this century to fill in all the details. As a matter of fact, in the quote's done, but
Quote from random scientist
maybe he's slightly
stating
wrong.
his personal opinion about something.
It's going to take
Because
even
that's what
longer.
matters.
Because geneticist Rick Myers stated, we're far from finished. You might even argue that this could go on forever. Now, the question is, and that came up in the last discussion in regards to embryonic and developmental functions during the very...
So if y'all didn't actually catch it, I thought it was funny, and Albad and I were actually talking about this in the side chat. This whole field that he thinks is like fucking new ground or some shit. There's an entire course on developmental biology. Wow, you know, you have to wonder, well, Drag, how do you know that? I'm taking the course next semester. It's so routine now that it's textbook material, literally. My advisor and the guy I'll probably be doing research with in the future teaches the course. He's the only one that teaches this. So if there was something that was anything remotely close to what he was talking about, it'd be in that course, at least on a surface level. But I'm not sure really what he thinks happens, because it's, if you actually listen to Standing for Truth, you can kind of categorize a lot of his, well, I don't know if you want to call them statements or piffle or drivel, whatever you want to categorize it as. They come in kind of two forms: blatant misrepresentations of science and quotes from random scientists. That's literally all he has to say. Like, he doesn't have the ability to have organic conversations. When you ask this guy, hey, when you're trying to compare these two things, this random thing that you think is analogous to something in biology, what are you referencing? Give me something specific. And you've heard me say, well, is this a polymerase? Is this an effector molecule? Give me something specific. This guy won't answer because he doesn't know. And if you've noticed the thumbnail, well, when you kind of point out that he really doesn't understand these things, he does a silent rage quit. So, oh, and I have more of those screenshots. We got some good ones, folks. When I say me, I say we, I mean me. So, yeah. This is great. Y'all, I'm going to take y'all with me to school, by the way. I got to get some coffee first, because it's cold as fuck outside. I'm tired.
various stages of the developmental stage, of course, on a molecular level in the DNA. Now, when that question was asked, I think it was assumed that it was answered correctly, because we're asking where and what are all.
So, because I'm very curious too. I did catch this in the conversation. It seems to him that there's some major difference between the development of a blastocyst as opposed to, let's say, a mesenchymal cell. I don't know. I'm just going to randomly name a fucking cell type in an adult. What's the significance of the question, and what are these differences that you're trying to tease out? Other than, well, this particular type of cell is totipotent, while the other one I think mesenchymal are pluripotent, if I'm not mistaken. Someone feel free to correct me. But other than the type of cell, which they're going to be different anyway, no matter what stage you get them at, what's the significance of this question, right? If you're not going to specifically identify what the fuck you're talking about. Why even make these analogies? Because ultimately the analogies are worthless. And he doesn't seem to get that. He doesn't really seem to get... I guess he thinks, in his case, that he can kind of brush over all the molecular biology you actually need to know to have these conversations. And I'm sorry, as I'm on my way to organic chemistry and then later to cancer biology, you kind of need all this stuff if you really want to talk about this stuff. You can't avoid the minutia and then argue over the minutia. It doesn't work like that. And he's going to learn that soon. Very, very soon, folks. He's due for another ass whooping later this week.
And by all, I mean all the DNA sequences associated with crafting complex...
Oh, Doc Savage has been poking this dude a lot.
...before embryonic
development. Yes, I've been seeing those comments.
Now, we may understand a little bit of the answer to that question, which is, I think, exactly what the answer was that was provided. But the question is, where are the complete and advanced data? Because
complete and advanced data.
Evolutionists, what they'll do in their little box is the data that they will send and provide, they're very basic. Not advanced data, because the fact is the advanced...
So let me just say, as someone who has stuck a part of my pinky nail into bioinformatics, I am at no point in time any authority on how to classify data. Yeah, I know that there's data on my computer in the form of porn and homework. That's about it. But I'm at a loss for what he means by advanced data. I wonder if we have people in the community who maybe, you know, are computer scientists or computer savvy who know what the fuck he's talking about here. Because I have no idea. What? Yes. Oh, Nestle, yes, actually. He has referenced y'all's little chat ever so vaguely, but it gets referenced. But what advanced data? I could have swore that people referenced the studies of projects he brought up. He mentioned ENCODE, and people went, well, have you looked at any of the peer-reviewed journals concerning ENCODE? Have you looked into any of the techniques that they acquired said data? And he hadn't. Now he wants advanced data. I have no idea what the fuck that is. Maybe he can describe what it is. Maybe if I just play a little bit longer, he'll tell me what advanced data is, as opposed to basic data. I don't know. It's fucking iPad.
Advanced data is not available. So what they'll send you, or what they'll respond with, is an answer consisting less than 5% of the DNA language, which actually proves, whether they know it or not, that the majority of DNA is functional. Now, we as creationists, we're looking ahead. We're looking to the future.
Did y'all hear that? So let me set, okay, hold on. So if, I'm taking this on face value, if you don't have a complete data set, you can just make postulations about the rest of the data set based on 5% of it. He doesn't have any evidence for this, i.e. the data, but he can make the statement about what the data is and then and draw conclusions from that. Man, it's almost like he's trying to make an argument from being ignorant about the 95% of the data that he claims is missing. Interesting, huh? That's interesting.
Because the trajectory for DNA function is strong. But these biased evolutionists...
Oh, the trajectory of functional DNA is strong? Did y'all hear that too? Did y'all hear that? I could have sworn most of our DNA are just like palindromes and shit like that. That aren't protein coding. Maybe I'm fucked up. Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But from his expertise, which he's been asked about, and he's promptly fucking skirted away from that question. From his position, folks, he thinks, based on his years of study and Wikipedia genetics, the trajectory of future projects, the data obtained from them, are going to be functional fucking codes here and there. Functional, here. Chromosome functional. And then you're going to have an entire chromosome functional. Entire chromosome. entire fucking chromosome. Watch. You watch. You watch. How would you even draw that conclusion? I am genuinely curious how. I mean, for one thing, he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. But how would you draw? Like, if you're claiming that you only have 5% of the total data, you're missing 95%. So from that 5%, you're able to gauge the rest of 95%. Maybe in some cases, but in as far as genetic, I'm not even sure where he's getting the numbers from. To tell you the truth. But holy shit. Like, in order for that to be true, you would have to have entire chromosomes to be completely functional. And I mean, fuck the centromeres, you know, fuck the fucking telomeres. I mean, like, I don't, like, I don't, how do you square that? At this point, new portion of functional DNA are just small fractions. This trajectory should point toward the fact that we are scraping the bottom of the barrel. I mean, hey. Now, if he were to say something like, you know, we may find out that there are certain junk DNA sections previously thought not to do anything, and they actually produce like you know, microRNAs and shit like that, then sure, like if you want to consider that functional, that's fine. But people outline their definitions ahead of time, and one of the interesting things about standing for truth is that he really won't answer that question, because when asked, you know, what do you consider functional, are we just talking about protein coding, or are we talking about anything, you know, translational? You get fucking crickets. Because he'll go on a soliloquy about what he thinks about, you know, abiogenesis instead of answering the fucking question. Oh, come on, Mr. iPad. Don't do that. I don't want to put my code in again. That takes too long. Approximately 5 seconds. All right.
Position to not only creationists, but many of the ENCODE researchers themselves. They're looking within a box, which is why they can't sufficiently answer that question, because at the end of the day, when we ask what the DNA is doing step by step during the embryonic phase, and we're given an answer, a very basic answer, and little do they know that a lot of these functions are actually in
how are you defining function?
Considered the non-coding junk areas.
Okay.
That actually proves
protein coding
all along. And to make it more specific and to use an example, picture our mom and dad, their DNA, and we'll use arms here, they contribute to our left and right arms, but it's not that dad contributes his DNA for the left arm while mom contributes her DNA for the right arm.
It could happen that way,
DNA
actually.
combines features from both mom and dad's DNA to form the left and right arm. The question is, how does DNA do that precisely? What are the step-by-step processes?
Well, if y'all actually want to see like developmental biology, it's actually a fascinating and complex topic. But yes, genetic. So if you want to actually like make this really succinct, genetic recombination happens, and things continue to look like the thing that they came from with slight alterations. The end. Like that's he's taken for fucking ever to say that. That's literally what he's talking about here. Absolutely. The schematic, as you know, as far as where our eyes and heads and legs and shit are going to be pretty much the fucking same, with slight differences between how certain traits are expressed. Not to mention some of the traits, like, I don't know, height, are multivariable. You mean that it's not strictly genetic. So I would have picked a different, phenotype, or phenotypical trait rather, because that's, especially limb growth, that's up for a lot of factors. It'd be, in my opinion, be a bad example, but that's fine. That's fine. He's still learning.
Now,
I'm still learning.
To get into a little bit more here on a discussion that took place a couple nights ago, a video caused some triggering by one of the atheists who couldn't seem to...
Yes! A video did cause some trigger. I'm glad you got to that. Oh my goodness. My God, I'm so glad I almost dropped like a whole thing of steak out the refrigerator. Y'all didn't see that. But that is so true. Standing for truth. It did cause some triggering. In fact, this thumbnail is you being triggered in that very chat. So much that you left the chat. Not to mention that the hangout that preceded the chat, where you wanted to engage a few of us, you had to take a break. You had to go walk the dog or whatever excuse is now with creationists. And then you never came back. In fact, you left the hangout afterwards. Just silent rage quit. I thought that was cute. I thought that was wonderful. My goodness. My goodness. So I got some fun stuff to take. So folks, if you've actually seen on Midnight, Athena, IQ, fucking I don't know what he calls himself today, Fairy Princess, whatever the fuck he calls himself today, go on his channel. Go actually look at that. I think it's the one who claims to stand for truth #2, something like that. Go look at the video. Go look in the comment section. Go look in that comment section, okay? I want y'all to just look for people who hold, not even kind of, you know what, I like the way this discussion went. You know what, maybe I think, so-and-so could have did a better job. Not even those kind of half-hearted, critiques of just performance. Nothing like, I'm talking about whole hog swallowing balls of standing for truth. I want you to find the motherfuckers, okay? I want you to then remember those names, because they're pretty interesting names. Don't even hover over them yet. Go to Standing for Truth's own page, pick a random video, find those same names. Then I want you to click another video, find those same names. Then I want you to click on those names. Y'all are going to see something really interesting. And it's going to make the thumbnail to this, well, actually the next video, be very, very relevant, because y'all know I like suspense. So, man, it's going to get interesting. Some of y'all already know. Some of y'all know the secret.
To answer a simple question regarding limits, because
answering simple questions. Now, hey, if someone's bored enough, y'all can pick that the one who claims to stand for truth #2, whatever it is. Go through that video. Find the timestamps when each of us ask him to specifically, can you answer this question directly? There's like at least 4 times that I remember just throughout the, I know it was more than that, where we go, can you just answer the question? It's a yes or no question, man. Come on. Hey, we don't need a whole soliloquy. We don't need to hear your life story. Why are you changing subjects? It's funny that he gets miffed about people supposedly not answering a question when he doesn't want to do it himself. He's actually very averse, folks, to answering direct questions, because he knows that exposes his ignorance. But that's fine. That's perfectly fine. If he wants to be pedantic, hell, I was pedantic as a motherfucker in that conversation, and with a purpose. So I love it. But if he wants to dance again later this week, I might make some time for him.
We do predict limits, of course, because molecules to man, bacteria to biology, evolution requires phenomenal expansion of genetic information. And I think we can all agree that it would take thousands of mutations adding novel information to change simple cells into invertebrates, vertebrates, and obviously, eventually, mankind. Now, the evolutionist problem.
Well, see, I love when he makes these proclamations about what it would take to do something. See, folks, the difference between whether or not you get sickle cell anemia is the replacement of one amino acid. That can change the course of your entire life. And just think about that. One amino acid. I think it's valine to something or something valine. I can't remember offhand. But it's just one amino acid. Everything else can be identical. But think about the impact that could have on your survivability being in a place where there's lots of mosquitoes and malaria versus not. Just think about that for a second. So Tim just saying off the cuff, well, in order to get this, you need lots and lots and lots of, you need more base pairs. That's this assumption. Keep in mind, folks, that some of the most basic, or actually some of the most deadly viruses that we have are very small. You could fit their entire genomes on a fucking floppy disk. That's how small they are. They don't need to be large in order to do the things that they do. They're sophisticated enough just to hijack the stuff that's already there. So this assumption that more base pairs equals like more complexity, because I kind of feel that that's the way that he's going with that. That's not necessarily true. There are plants like flowers that have more base pairs than us. You know, so this is the kind of stuff that if you've never been in a genetics class, that's the kind of shit that people say. That he doesn't understand that you can add as many base pairs as you want. Because wherever he gets this shit from, I have no idea. I would love to hear where he gets this shit from. Because it goes against, it literally, folks, goes against shit. I have PowerPoints that contradict what he's saying from the same guy that teaches the developmental fucking biology class. I have no idea where he gets this shit from. People who are in the field don't say shit like this. It's only this fucker who actually does reference Wikipedia, and not to just get the name of shit like that's his actual study material, folks, is Wikipedia. That should tell you something. Because we asked him, you know, when's the last time you've read a peer-reviewed journal? Because he stated that he was up on the research. He actually did state that. So, okay, well, what you been reading, my man? What you been reading? Oh, you're not going to like it because it's from Creation Ministry. And there we fucking go then. You ain't read no goddamn peer-reviewed journal. Quit telling people you did. Lying-ass bitch.
In and of itself is with the fundamental nature of information. Let's take a book, for example. The information in a book. It cannot be reduced to nor derived from the properties of the ink and paper used to write it. Similarly, of course, the information in the genetic code cannot be reduced to nor derived from the properties of matter or the allelic variations caused by mutations. And the discussion that I was having in the brief portion that I was discussing with Drag, we both agreed that evolution means change. More technically, evolution means a change in allele frequency in populations over generations, or in the gene pool over generations. But he seemed to scoff at that when he asked if my problem was that evolution isn't occurring today. But I think it's pretty obvious to anybody with half a brain that, of course, change is happening. We see change. But if
y'all notice something?
Evolution,
did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch him say that what he and I supposedly agreed on, and then he had to add a caveat to that and actually state what I agreed to? Because if you say something, I can say that as a person, from the ages of 18 to 30, I have evolved as a person. That's change. I can't say Dragnot evolved into Mega Dragnot, and now I have missiles coming out of my ass to attack my foes when I get threatened. Those are two different fucking scenarios. So if you're going to just make this equivocation, try to be a little bit more slick about it, because that's not what I fucking agreed to. So if you are going to tell people Dragnot agreed to the change in allele frequency over time in the population, then Dragnot wholeheartedly fucking agrees with that. In fact, Dragnot has actually done experiments to show how that happens and to track heterozygosity. That's a hard fucking word to say anymore. But then say that shit. Don't then change it back to something I didn't fucking say, you dishonest piece of shit. So if you want people to believe that you don't have a legion of your sock account sucking your dick and that you actually know this stuff, then try your very fucking best, my man, to at least be honest, because people watched that. People knew exactly, because I even went back when you changed it in the conversation and said, no, bitch, that's not what I agreed to. I didn't call him a bitch. He's sensitive. I'm just saying that. I'm about to take off in a second. I'm going to take you guys with me. I can't take my iPad. It's just a piece of shit.
Domestic dogs and wolves are related. Of course, that change is seen. That change is empirical, and we don't disagree with it. But if you mean dogs and bananas are related, and that there's actually evidence for it, for one, you're strongly deluded. And secondly, that is not what I mean by evolution, because mutations are not genetic scriptwriters. As I've said many times before, God wrote the initial genetic script, and we're just seeing variation and change, adaptation based on that original genetic script. Now, mutations, they're merely typographical alterations. And like I said, the genetic script, that has already been written. Now, typically a mutation changes only one letter in a genetic sentence, averaging, say, 1,500 letters long. To make fish to fishermen, bacteria to biologist evolution happen, or to even make pond scum to people evolution a theory, because it's not even a good hypothesis, but let alone a theory, say, fit for scientific discussion, which is why a lot of them are very hesitant to even discuss this type of evolution, because there's absolutely zero evidence for it. Evolutionists desperately need some kind of genetic scriptwriter to create novel genetic information. Increasing the size of a genome and the depth of a gene pool. And unfortunately for evolutionists, mutations have absolutely zero ability to compose genetic sentences, no ability to produce novel genetic information, and therefore and consequently no ability to make pond scum to people evolution happen at all. Now, I was watching a little bit of a video. Couldn't watch too much of it because the response videos are often hours long, but I did catch.
Okay, I could have swore I heard him say something about a magical genetic scriptwriter. Okay, so this tells me he doesn't actually understand how mutations happen. I'm checking my apartment. I'm walking around making sure everything's good. And Pret, if you're watching, man, you can get these dishes. So, folks, there needs to be no magical scriptwriter. Xavier, I'm about to start walking to class in a second. I don't know when your class starts. But, folks, you can get changes in a cell that's already been differentiated, already been around, just by... God damn it. You motherfuckers are texting me. This is knocking it down. God damn, hold on. All right, I gotta turn this shit off. All right. Okay, oh, you're going grocery shopping. Okay. God damn it. And what the fuck did I click on? What the fuck is this? You motherfuckers. This is prison? This is prison videos. This is really gonna screw up my what is it? Prisons 2017, 27 years left. Oh, Jesus. Why is this in my... Oh.
And therefore, and consequently, no...
Okay, so, perfect example. If you... now I forgot what the fuck I was saying. Thanks a lot, guys. So, there doesn't need to be a magical scriptwriter. When cells recombinate, that's going to cause mutation. They're going to cross over. Yeah, no, nice try, guys. I already put it on notifications off. So, like I said, when you have recombination, it's going to happen. You have crossing over events. That if you want to acknowledge that as a scriptwriter, that's fine. If you're trying to find protein coding genes that form de novo, there's all types of different studies on that. You can actually look up. Yeah, nice try. You can just Google protein coding genes de novo or something of that type and find it. It's not magical. The problem is that he doesn't actually understand the basic mechanics of how DNA works. I'm pretty like I will put myself out there and say, if you were to ask this guy just roughly, tell me how DNA replicates, he doesn't know. He didn't even know what a fucking promoter region was, which was my first indication that he doesn't understand what the fuck he's talking about. My second indication was when he willingly brought up ENCODE project, and then we had to pull teeth. Actually, it was like pulling butthole hairs to get him to say, no, I hadn't actually read anything peer-reviewed concerning it. I'm paraphrasing. But my man, if you are going to talk, if you're going to say that you're going to look at this data and you're going to try and crunch these numbers and do this and that, and you don't know how the data was obtained, that's crazy. He might know what a polymerase is. I don't know. He's like True Empiricism's daddy and Tommy Hall's teacher. Like he meanders in between this facade that he wants to come across as, but then he doesn't have the temperament to keep it up when people point out, man, you obviously have not researched any of this stuff. You've gone to creation ministry, you've learned lines, and actually, folks, if you want to hear some of the lines, this is funny, I picked up his tell. If you are hearing him talk to anyone, and he goes, "So you're saying, or are you saying?" That's a tell. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Just listen for it in any conversation when he's talking to someone he disagrees with, and that's an indication. It's crazy. I didn't realize it at first. Jay Passive picked up on it too, and it's hilarious because there's a pause there too because he's trying to parse out a direct fucking statement. How do I answer this question but not say I don't know what the fuck you just said? It got so bad in the conversation with Sam that Sam had to go, man, look, if you don't know what it is, just say you don't know what it is, not fucking explain it. But man, he didn't do that until Sam allowed him that, because he, for whatever reason, can't just say, I'm not sure what you're talking about. It's crazy. The guy who's standing for truth can't stand for his own education. He can't stand to actually go and have his ideas challenged. My man. Let me play a little bit more of this. We about to take off, folks. Some of us actually have to get an education, unlike some folks. I might want to play the video. That might have a good impact on the thing.
Ability to make pond scum to people evolution happen at all. Now, I was watching a little bit of a video. Couldn't watch too much of it because the response videos are often hours long, but I did catch the response about whether a dog today came from a population of non-dogs long ago and far away. And at the end of the day, what they stated was, of course, dogs today came from the gray wolf or Canis lupus. But if I even look here, I'm just got something pulled up here on Google. It says the dog Canis familiaris is a direct descendant of the gray wolf Canis lupus. In other words, dogs as we know them are domesticated wolves. Not only their behavior changed, domestic dogs are different in form from wolves, mainly smaller and with shorter muzzles and smaller teeth. Now, another thing here, I see a little phylogenetic tree with a wolf and then all the different domestic dogs descending from this wolf. It says, a study emphasized that while molecular genetic data seem to support the origin of dogs from wolves, dogs may have descended from a now extinct species of canid whose closest living relative was the wolf. The dog's lineage may have been contributed to from a ghost population. This is hilarious because it's still a dog. And this is consistent with the creation model. Now, most honest evolutionists will say, yes, of course, a dog today came from something that was non-dog long ago and far away. And that's the whole point, is what we see today, dogs producing dogs, is contrary to what the evolutionists will believe in, which is why I say that this type of evolution in and of itself is a religion, because when asked if anyone has ever seen one type of creature change into another, the answer is always no. And confronted with this, the evolutionists usually counter that it happens too slowly to be seen. The claim is that it takes millions of years for these painfully slow processes to occur, which is why the best that they could say is, of course, this dog descended from a wolf. Little do they know, or maybe they're too ignorant to realize it, it's still a dog. Now, at the end of the day, if this process is too slow to be seen, how do we know it happened at all?
Wait for it.
After all, no one was there to observe all these organisms slowly changing into more complex forms. Also, there is obviously no way in the present to test or repeat what happened in the past. Therefore, any conclusions about things that are not testable in the present must be based on improvable assumptions about the untestable past. Now, at the end of the day, if evolution means a change in allele frequency in populations over time, does this change has limits? I think empirically it can be demonstrated that it does. Now, of course, if you want to believe that dogs today descended from something that was non-dog long ago and far away, and that banana plants, pine trees, elephants, and dogs are all related through common ancestry, of course you can believe that, but it's not empirical science. I remember months ago I was discussing with a few of these evolutionists on.
Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah. My goodness, there are fucking cave paintings of people domesticating wolves. But, alright. Yeah. Get my morning exercise. Alright. So, I don't have the iPad with me, obviously. So, I just wanted to kind of get to that point. Because that's where I say, you know what, let me just stop it. Because he's just repeating Hovind quotes at this point. There's really nothing else that I maybe there are some other gems in there. I might listen to it later. Honestly, I have better shit to do. But my God, this guy's dumb. It's really bad. Really, really bad. So, if you guys recognized a few of those statements, yes, they are G-tard statements, which ultimately are Hovind statements, because they can't come up with anything on their own, so they have to suck statements out of Ken Hovind's dick. Congratulations. A part of me wishes I had that much male attention in my life. Man. Whew. Not really, but you kind of have to wonder. You have to really wonder if these folks missed their calling in life. Because a part of me just wonders, because I can't get in their headspace. And by the way, no, that's not rain. That's I have a pretty full fountain over there in front of my apartments. So that's what that sound is. As you probably don't hear it any other time because there's cars going through the gate, which the gate is suspiciously open right now and staying open. But whatever. So this is a part of the video where I start psychoanalyzing folks, tongue in cheek. I kind of wonder what drives people to do this, because let's face it, there's a reason why standing for truth isn't in the field of genetics. There's a reason why he's not a biologist. There's a reason why. There are factors in his life and decisions, choices that he's made that have precluded him from doing that. So if he can, I guess, live vicariously through other apologists on the internet from the comfort and the safety of his computer chair, then I guess that's sufficient. I don't know. Not to say that there's necessarily anything wrong with that. Sure, I would love to be Elon Musk, and I can live his Playboy dream and listen to him on Joe Rogan's podcast. Kind of, sort of, maybe. But to go out up against folks who actually understand the topic, even have a cursory understanding of the stuff that he's not willing to educate himself on, that's what I don't get. That's what I'm genuinely confused about. And Art and I were talking about it just a little bit, but probably over some beer whenever I go to visit Dallas, because he has promised to let me see some of those breweries. I'm curious what he thinks. I'm curious what other people think too. Not because Arn looks like the devil, but because he has dealt with these folks way more than most of us. Like, he's actually dealt with them face to face, up close, what have you. What does he think is the motivation? Because you could say that, well, a lot of people that we know in real life, they love Jesus, they love God, but they're not doing this. They're not going up to, biochemists telling them that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Meanwhile, they're working at fucking Kroger's on a 9 to 5. No, my man, Standing has already said that his source of information, 2 places: Creation Ministries and Wikipedia. I don't know which one's worse at this point. And I'll give Wikipedia, at least Wikipedia has the chance of being right. And Wikipedia is not necessarily all that bad. You can go down to the references and check on them. Some of them are probably legit. If you want to actually do that, if you want to have just a cursory understanding of something, Wikipedia is perfect. Just to say, oh, I can't remember because I told you guys this. My instructor for cancer biology very well-respected scientist. He uses Wikipedia routinely in the course because he can't remember all the acronyms. If they're not dealing with, I almost said the type of cells he works with. If they're not dealing with a very specific type of cell, and like the techniques that he employs to, you know, work with them, he kind of forgets because it is a lot of shit to remember. And it's like, oh, okay, that's what it was. So he'll go to Wikipedia real quick to get the overview of it and to at least spell out the acronym. And that's fine. But when that's your only reference to what you think is going on, my man, not the best option. So at some point, Standing for Truth has convinced himself. He has convinced himself that he understands these topics as well as anyone who actually sits their ass in a class. People who labs even. He has convinced himself of that he has sufficient understanding that he can go toe to toe, stand shoulder to shoulder with. My man, I'm not going to go up to the physics department and start arguing with them over black holes. I'm going to take my black ass and go back over to the biology department. Not going to happen. I have at least enough respect for him. I know me watching Cosmos it's not going to replace their years of actual study. Actually, I know a dude up in the physics department because, you know, black people in physics departments are kind of rare. So it's interesting though to me to see that, because I don't encounter Christians like this in person. The Christians that I talk to, you know, at the campus, they're pretty cool people. They're pretty humble folks. They'll tell you, say, you know, I'm not too sure about that. You know, here's what I thought it was. Let's talk about it. And I actually like doing that. I got a chance to talk to Justin, one of the Southern Baptist dudes, because they have free hot dogs on Saturdays, and I love free food. But I go talk to him, you know. Maybe if they see me talking to him, they'll be more inclined to talk to him. They see that he's not a threatening dude. You know, tall, skinny white boy. Very well dressed, very clean, very wholesome image. And I like that. Fairly progressive dude too, for a Southern Baptist. And he's not, what I like about him is that, well, it's not self-deprecating, but he's not going to shy away from the hard questions. And he's not going to try and put on a front. He's not going to create a facade just to make himself look better. And I respect that about him. I really do. And I think I forwarded his information to Skylar, I think I forwarded Skylar's information to him that he has to find time for, because he's going to conferences and stuff. But I say that to compare him to some of these online evangelicals that I really don't have any respect for. I really don't. And it might not mean much, but if you're trying to get people to come to Christ, being anti-science ain't the way to do it. At least in my case. But I kind of wish some of these dudes would take note of people like Justin. Because what Justin does, is effective. It really is. I feel inclined to go talk to him. I feel inclined to open myself to hearing the gospel to him. Am I going to accept it? Fuck no. But that presents an opportunity for him, you know? But you compare that with some of these other creationists. They stand no chance. You know? They stand no chance. So, methinks that Standing for Truth is going to try and redeem himself some more, because, folks, that video that he posted, I think it was Immutable Destiny called, because I'm not subscribed to the motherfucker. I didn't even bother clicking the button, because there's really nothing to see other than him and his socks. I mean, his supporters in the comment section sucking him off. And that's sad, folks. I guess, actually, I already spoiled the surprise. He has a bunch of sock accounts underneath his videos. Yeah. It's sad when you have a creationist who wants attention so bad and prestige that he won't actually take the time to get educated on it. he won't take the time to go and fellowship with other people to convince them of the bullshit that he believes. He had to go make sock accounts to hype himself up. Y'all don't believe me, huh? Y'all skeptical? Good. Be skeptical. Go look at Random Play. Go look at the one that's like Indian blood, something, you know, Aztec warrior, some bullshit like that. And here's another one. Okay. And go look up. Here's another one with just look up under his videos. Look up under his videos. Those are sock accounts. Woo! Man, that's sad. He can't even have an actual fan base. He had to fabricate not only his educational topic, but a fan base who agrees with him. If that does not double down on depressing, I don't know what does. And I just did all that alliteration for no reason, because why the fuck not? It's a Monday morning. Oh, here's one. Oh, speaking of butthurt. Oh, your assessment of lack of education in people is just, oh, shut the fuck up. Oh my God, he's so butthurt. Actually, warning, I do have a degree. I just don't mention it. Ah! If you were up my ass as much as you thought you were, you'd know that I actually do have a degree. I'm going to get my second degree, technically. So suck my nuts, bitch. Yes, holy spackle. I was supposed to graduate with 2 associate's degrees 2 years ago. But unfortunately, when you have a kid, you can't take chemistry too. And so that's why I don't have 2 associate's degrees. So I actually had enough credits for almost 3. But shit happens when you transfer. But anyway, it's crazy to me. And I've said this before. If you are going to come on here and talk to people who have formal education on the topic, and you don't, it helps to have a robust understanding of the topic. And I've said this before, because there are plenty of people who aren't formally educated, and I think Jack Ainstrike, perfect example. He's been given props by Ozzy, the fucking atheist god, demigod here, because he knows his shit. I have no problem acknowledging that, because he took the time, challenged himself, albeit he might be not the best person to have a conversation with, you know, cordially sometimes, but it's more often depends on his mood and, you know, how he's feeling, which is redundant, but who he's talking to plays a big role in that too. So I can't really criticize him for doing something that I do. But anyway, he does. He knows his shit. But he's actually read books. He's not just going to Wikipedia and picking really niche topics that he thinks that he can, I guess, fool people into believing that he knows all about it. Because if you, now I've said this before, when we're talking to the New Jersey retard, there are certain things that you say that lets people know how much you know about a topic. If I start talking about, what did I say before? Mesenchymal cells, and I start saying, well, I know my mesenchymal cells are totipotent, and they become any cell in the body, and mesenchymal cells, they're so cool that they don't even have promoters, they don't even need stop codons. Anybody who understands genetics knows that what I just said is absolutely fucking false. I literally just made up shit. That didn't happen. So if you are trying to pass yourself off as someone who understands the topic, it's implied that you know the basics. And if you have the shibboleth. Thank you, Hawktie, again, for giving us that word, because I'd never known what that word was called. You can talk the talk, as it were.
The fact that Standing for Truth, who claims he understood genetics, didn't even know what a promoter region was, or how, or I should say, why it's significant, was scary. That was my watershed. I can't say that because it wasn't the only one. I would say the main watershed moment for me, to let me know that he doesn't know what he's talking about. If you go look up gene, and people, if you're at your computer desk, if you're at school, you have access to the interwebs, while you listen to me, go look up what the fuck a gene is. Now, go to Google Images, you can see the basic layout. And you look at that, the beginning part of it, you're going to see a promoter region. Some of them might box. No, not a prostitute house. Cat box. C-A-A-T. Cat box. Well, depending on what promoter region you're looking at. I don't think all of them have cat boxes. Some of them have, what's the other type? Yeah, I think bacteria has a different type. Some type of sequence that's recognized as a promoter region. But at least for us, cat box. You don't have to know all that, but knowing how a basic gene is constructed, I would say, would be the very basic thing that you would have to know. I mean, am I crazy? Am I just talking out of my ass? It's a Tata box? That was a cat box. Okay, it's a Tata box. Excuse me. So, there isn't a cat box? Yes, there is. Hold on. There's a cat box. Okay, that was weird. Yeah, I was trying to look up. There is a cat box. I'm challenging you on that, Sam. There's a cat box. Tata box is also part of promoter region. I'm challenging Sam on this. I think it's C-A-A-T. Hold on, what the fuck is this dude saying? What is an NPC? Why is that a new insult now? NPC? I don't know what that means. Awesome. Absolutely. I'm still working on my bachelor's degree. One of us is actively working towards it. But my man just got done saying you don't have to have a bachelor's degree. You can just know the shit. That's the whole point of me bringing up Jack Angstrike and Ozzy. Did you not hear that? Whew, somebody ain't paying attention. Anyway, never claimed to be a scholar. Actually, in the beginning of this conversation, I said I'm still learning. Could have sworn I said that too. That lets y'all know how much these dudes been paying attention. Anyway, my man, if you're going to talk about stuff, anything, it doesn't matter what it is. If I start talking about baseball, I think I even gave this example later in the conversation on the Midnight IQ, whatever his name is now, channel. If I'm going to start, actually no, I said football. If I'm going to talk about how the Saints have been doing this season, which I've been, I might want to know the score. I might want to know who got traded. If I don't know about Drew Brees, might not want to talk about the Saints. Certain things. My man has not done his homework. At all. At all. Looks like warnings triggered. That's one today. NPC is a pro-Trump internet new insult. They need to come up with better stuff. They really do. So is an NPC, okay, so NPC is a non-player character. So is it just another word for lemming? Yeah. Cat isn't, okay, so isn't required at all in genes. Okay. I was still right, motherfucker. Cat box is only for certain genes. Tata box was the one I was actually referencing for the promoted region. Whoop. Almost ran into that. Okay, oh yeah. I think cat box was the one for bacterial, because I couldn't remember what it was. And I was getting the bacterial one. No, I don't think cat box is for bacterial, because they have a region, and they promote a region named after a guy. It's named after a guy. It's actually fun trying to remember some of this. Isn't bacteria? Okay. NPC is equivalent to a bot. Oh, that's what it is. Subset of promoters that bind to the... Oh, okay. I'm about to look that up. It's actually fun to talk about this stuff. Oh, there we go. I'm at the building now, so I can rest my rigorous. Okay. Let me put this here. There we go. All right. Whew. So, as I said before, if we want to talk about certain things, just basic knowledge. I don't think that that's anything like too controversial. Is it now? Is it? I mean, you just said, I forget shit all the time. I don't work with genes every day. People who work with genes every day might know a little something about it. So, knowing how a gene is constructed, I don't think is a controversial. Like, maybe I'm just fucking crazy. And for those of you who look at the acronyms CAT and TATA, you see how and why I remember them? So there's a reason I got an A in genetics. Thank you, Doc Savage, for filthy mnemonics. Thank you. That is what I'm going to start calling them. I created tons of filthy mnemonics. You would be amazed how many you can get studying genetics. Organic chemistry doesn't work that way, unfortunately. But it's not crazy to think that if I want to talk golf, I might want to know which golfers did good. If I want to talk about football, I might want to think about who's the top in the league, who's rushing for the most yards, who is fucking not getting arrested for murder and getting gun charges. If I want to talk about any topic, having just a cursory understanding of just the basics, I think is something that everyone should have, so that you can't talk to anybody about anything. That's just a perfect example is the military. I know instantly whether or not someone served in the military, and it's really easy to tell, and it's incredibly easy. I think it's easier for me to tell that based on the type of stories that they tell me within the first 2 seconds. If they can't tell me what their last unit was, I already know. And yes, that's one of the things that you remember, your last unit. Even if you've been out for years, you typically remember your last unit. You don't remember your fucking call sign and superfluous shit like that. But to the same token, if we're talking about genetics, you might want to know what the regulatory region is of the gene that you're talking, especially if you're talking about genes doing things and how they're regulated. You might want to know about the regulatory region. I mean, it's almost intuitive. So my thing is, it's not necessarily obligatory for some. Okay, yeah, Dragoon 17. Yes, you still remember your call sign. Yes, Xavier. Mine was, I think mine was Assassin 9 Alpha. Yeah, I think I was Assassin 9 Alpha, because the commander was 6. I think XO was 7. 8 was, I think, first sergeant, and then I think I was 9, so 9 Alpha. But I'm surprised I remember that. But if I'm going to talk to, let's say, a Christian, I might want to know maybe not all the books of the Bible, but if I want to discuss whether or not Genesis or the claims in a particular book is true, I might want to have read some Genesis. I might want to know some of the original language it was written in, just to get the context. So it's crazy to me that this is a controversial point. Like I don't see how people in this day and age believe excuse me, believe that if they Wikipedia something long enough, that they can know as much as someone working in the field. I don't think that that's actually possible to have a robust understanding, because one of the nice things about formal education is that it forces you to learn things that you typically don't think you need. Like I can say that I've been pleasantly surprised by learning stuff that I didn't think that I needed. That's a part of life though, and like in general, you learn things that you may not necessarily thought you would have need to know. I don't. Again, to me, these things aren't controversial. Having experiences, getting outside your comfort zone, versus staying kind of cloistered in one area. But you see the results of that though. You see the results of someone like standing for truth. People like him and fucking Jill and goddamn what's the fuck? He's in the chat. Warning. People who don't know shit. And they get these conversations, they get frustrated, and they get upset when you point out, bro, you ain't did shit. And I'm not talking about going to come sit your ass in a classroom like some of us had to work for. My bad if I actually value something that I literally worked and sweat, bled, vomited for, and I actually value it. I'm not gonna make apologies for that. I'm saying I'm sorry, but I'm being facetious. I'm not gonna make fucking apologies for something I work for. You can kiss my ass. Because at the end of the day, I know you're not gonna work as hard as me. That's a simple fucking truth. And you know it. That's why Standing gets upset. That's why Standing is upset. And he had to leave the fucking chat. That's why I made it the fucking thumbnail. And it's like, you can be mad at someone's demeanor, but my man, even when there's nobody in the fucking hangout, you gotta start being this little passive-aggressive bitch. Just like, if you're upset that someone's being smug, and someone's being arrogant, stop being a passive-aggressive little bitch. Like, you honestly remind me of some of my female cousins. I'm just saying. But maybe that's just who he is as a person. Maybe he got something to tell us. I don't know. You know, live your best life, boo. But don't be mad if somebody calls you on shit. Just say, okay, I was fucked up about the cat box earlier. All right, I need to go look at that. It might be important. I might need to actually go look that up, because I have to go look and Sam, don't you say shit. I have to go look in my Gene browser, Chromus. All right, I'm using Chromus to go and find my vector, because I transformed E. coli, and I put in a sequence to the PGAP control, the PGAP positive control that we were using, and so I have to find the vector, cut out the vector, and then use a Gene browser to find it. And it's part of some assignment that I got to do, learning bioinformatics. But I can't make fancy graphs yet, not yet, no. So that's gonna be fun. I have to actually find the sequence of the vector first, and I got this much fucking code to look through. Good thing Control F is useful. Oh wait, there's degeneracy. Gotta look out for the degeneracy. Oh, gotta calculate the level of degeneracy in this fucking it's fucked up, man. It's I don't envy Sam. I can look at this shit all day. I looked at it for like 4 hours. I'm like, how the fuck does he sit here and do this shit? Oh, goddamn. I'm being dead up with y'all. I'm being dead fucking serious. I sat in that building over there for 4 hours. I'm like, he's just looking at this shit all day? My God. You fucking kidding me? I'm starting to get a headache. I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna go for a walk. I gotta be wet lab. Fuck, man. Goddamn. Like, I can do it. Like, it's not impossible. Like, it's not the concept or what you need to be concerned with, and employing the techniques and knowing what the fuck you're looking for, right? But if I didn't know what I was looking for, such as the vector that I used, how big the vector is, well, I kind of need to know wouldn't you think, and for those of you who aren't real savvy in genetics, if I'm looking just at nucleotides and I'm trying to find where my gene begins, wouldn't knowing where the promoter region is be just a little important? Think about that for a second. Now, I'm actually telling y'all something that I'm actually going to be doing Wednesday in my biotech course, learning how to do this stuff. If I mash together shit, I had a sequence I'm trying to find. Wouldn't it help me if I knew where the beginning of that sequence was? If there were certain hallmarks of where that sequence was, would that or would that not help me find it? Wouldn't it also help if there was, I don't know, let's say a stop sign somewhere in that code? Assuming that there is a stop sign, but sometimes I've recently learned that sometimes there just aren't stop signs. But and what happens when there is no stop sign? But like that kind of stuff, you have to have a requisite knowledge. You have to have an understanding of how to recognize this shit. Before I got in the biotech class, there's certain prerequisites I had to have. Well, if I and to just to illustrate this a little bit better, folks, I had to take molecular genetics to get into this biotech class. If I'm working with genes, right? If I'm doing assignments, if I'm trying to do things that some other scientists do when they transform cells, and they're trying to then take that and they're trying to make cDNA or whatever the fuck they want to do with it. Having that requisite knowledge in molecular genetics would be integral, because how would the fuck I know where would I go? I'm going to go to Wikipedia and then try and look up where my start codons are. I'm going to go and do what exactly when I explain how that vector acquired my sequence. Wouldn't I need that requisite knowledge from molecular genetics to say that? Because they don't have time in the class to explain that backstory. They don't have time to do all that. They're trying to teach the techniques employed in the field. That's why it's a part of a certification program that I'm also in. At the same damn time, getting my bachelor's degree, my specialized bachelor's degree, and my certification in biotechnology. Working with certain instructors to make sure that the fucking, I call it the proto-bioinformatics degree, has interest. I'm showing interest in it because that's what they need in order for people in the future to go into bioinformatics. Hell yeah. I'll be taking a bioinformatics class in the future. So that's the kind of shit that I'm trying to work on. Because if I just go, whatever, that's not important. And I know that that's part of the future. Like that, everyone's pushing that. If I'm not on the forefront helping that go forward, what am I doing? How am I helping society? By just being like apathetic towards shit. It's not whatever. I don't even know. No. I'm not going to be making graphs and shit like that. I'm not going to be doing all that. Fuck that. But if you're not helping shit go forward, then don't stand in the way. But that's me. That's me. That's me. I didn't get to be put on fucking billboards and websites and shit because I'm just apathetic towards stuff. Because I actually fucking work for it. Believe it or not, if y'all are wondering why the shit that y'all say don't actually impact me, because I actually have a lot of respect around here. People respect my work ethic. People with PhDs stop and talk to me. You don't have to believe it. You can ask Xavier. Xavier's here. Well, he's shopping right now, but he's on this campus. He's seen it. People stop and talk to me all the time. Just because they want some of my time. I don't know why. It might have something to do with me actually pushing shit forward. Me wanting to see shit happen. Me actually wanting this university to grow. Me wanting people produced and cultured here to go out and do great things. Ew. That was disgusting. So, well, I understand, some folks are trolling, and it is what it is. Troll on, my brother. But that's why I'm not impressed by creationists, because y'all aren't here. Y'all aren't actually doing anything. I will never be impressed until you do. That's why all these folks who want to come up and talk about this, that, and the other, I really don't care. I think it's hilarious to me. I think it's awesome that they have an interest in the shit. Cool. I wish more people, would have an interest in, how their body works and how, how cancer forms. I mean, it's a really fascinating thing. I can tell you, as someone who just fucking took an exam in cancer biology, man, that's just complicated as fuck. I'm telling you, you guys have no idea. And this is the crazy part. You have no idea just how complex cell signaling can be. All the little fucking molecules needed to have this cascade go through to completion and then fucking loop around and stop itself, stop another cascade. You need one cascade to start, and in the middle of that cascade, that signals in fucking 6 other cascades. The product of the first cascade can stop the other fucking 5. Like, it's ridiculous how complex this shit is. But sitting and looking at Wikipedia and watching YouTube videos don't cut it. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. So, standing for truth, man, I appreciate your love of genetics, but like, if you really want to discuss these topics, it might help if you read the stuff that you bring up. Like, when you got upset when Attack-Seek and Ship-Seek were brought up, that was the second watershed moment for me. It's like, and again, I'm trying to relate this so people understand. I know Sam talks about this enough, but it's like if you were to tell me about a football game or some weird fucking European sport I had never heard of, and then you're telling me who scored what and how the plays went and all that and the other. If I don't understand the mechanics of said sport, how am I going to argue with you about what was done and how it was done? How can I say that was an illegal play? How can I say that this person should have acquired that amount of score versus that amount if I don't know that? How can we actually have a back and forth other than, oh, okay, you just kind of telling me what happened, right? So you can't form an interpretation from something when you don't know what the metric is that you're dealing with. That's the bottom fucking line. Out of all this shit that I'd said, while I was standing in my fucking kitchen drinking coffee up until now, that's at the bottom, at the very fucking last thing that we should actually just really just hone in on. Because I'm about to end this shit and go print out some stuff and go finish writing this pre-lab, or actually post-lab. Then I gotta write my pre-lab. Standing for truth, don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Yes, and you can say that's my opinion. That's fine. Absolutely. That's the opinion of other people who even just have a modicum of understanding of genetics. He actually does not understand it. And he is really sensitive to that fact. I'm sorry that there isn't really a better way of acquiring the information from the scientists other than looking at the papers, the studies that the scientists themselves produced. I don't know how else to get around that. Sorry, not sorry. I'm trying to take a course next semester so I can actually go and do that. I can actually sit down and read cancer biology papers and learn to do it on my own, and then I have to present it. Mind you, this is a graduate level course that I'm trying to go gain permission to go take. It's a challenge. I've already gotten permission from the instructor. He thinks that I have sufficient knowledge to do it. So guess what? Guess what? I'm gonna fucking do it. So I'm not impressed in the least when
dudes like this come on here and they don't want to put in a fraction of the effort that I put in real life. Absolutely. If they're upset, him and all his fucking stock accounts are upset that you're not putting in a fraction of the act. And think about that. A fraction of the effort that I actually put in on a day-to-day basis. Whose fault is that? Maybe you should find your calling doing something else, like sucking Ken Overton's dick. Maybe you'll learn something that way. I don't know. But to me, I would think, just me, if I really want to combat something that I think is wrong, I'm going to put myself in the best position to do that. It's not going to Google Tube, going to Google University, going to fucking the College of Wikipedia. I'm sorry. It's not doing that. You know, we got somebody in the community who is going into he's not going into, I think he's a few years into his master's of evolutionary biology. If you think evolutionary biology is bullshit, then go and be an evolutionary biologist. And if you think that's the shit, just saying. If you really think that there's something wrong and whatever connection between abiogenesis and biological evolution, that I'm still like kind of figuring out why he jumps between the two. But I know why. I'm being coy. It's because he's parroting Ken Hovind. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So I look forward to many more videos from Standing for Truth, trying to fucking set the record straight, do some damage control, because he knows he looks bad. He knows. If y'all actually want to go and listen to the rest of that, like I think I got through half of it, go and listen to the rest of that video. My goodness. My man's does not sound too good if he doesn't. So anyway, folks, some of us got actual science to do. Some of us got some butthurt to conduct. So, warning good people changes. Yeah, he changed his icon. Oh no, that's more cool. Okay, hold on. I'll read some of his fucking stupid ass messages. Hold on. Oh, where'd he go? Some of us are on to who you really are. We know you got government intelligence community utilize civilian agents. We know some. Yeah, okay, warning. He's a pretty good troll. He's a pretty good in that. He's kind of like a pillbox light. Kind of not as vitriolic. Kind of like a pillbox light. Yeah, I mean, he's getting better. I'm trying. Hey, look, I'm trying to give Warning some credit. He's trying to be a good troll. He's trying. He has some. I'm not gonna say that. His mom would be too happy with me. Anyway, folks, y'all have a good day. If I can end this.